Now she is teasing a big announcement that she claims will result in some of her opponents being arrested and charged.
A Dalton home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now
the small village of Dune, Illinois, has unexpectedly become the epicenter of a shocking political saga. At the center is Mayor Tiffany Henderson, whose leadership seems ripped from the pages of a political thriller or perhaps a reality TV script. Allegations of corruption, mismanagement, and scandal now cast a shadow over her tenure, leaving residents and critics alike questioning just how far the limits of power can be pushed before everything falls apart.
Politician Tiffany Henyard appears to have lost control of both governments.
The most shocking revelation yet came during a recent village meeting when Trustee Chris Gonzalez accused Mayor Tiffany Henyard of embezzling over $2 million in public funds. This money, intended for critical community development and essential services, has allegedly been diverted into questionable contracts, extravagant trips, and personal expenses under Henyard's leadership. Gonzalez called it a blatant betrayal of public trust, a sentiment echoed by many. Tensions between Henyard and the trustees are rapidly escalating, with public meetings becoming increasingly hostile and the village gripped by uncertainty. But the scandal takes an even stranger turn. Henyard's administration has also been accused of misusing public funds for self-promotion. Over the summer, banners featuring the phrase "Super Mayor" alongside her photo were displayed along Dune's main road. According to the vendor, these banners were never approved by the village board. When workers tried to remove them, Henyard called the police, demanding legal action against those responsible. Meanwhile, the village still faces an unpaid $20,000 bill for the unauthorized banners.
We here to have the big knowledge of this kind of work. That's what we are in to do, sir.
The most startling revelation came during a recent village meeting when Trustee Chris Gonzalez accused Mayor Tiffany Henyard of embezzling over $2 million in public funds. These funds, meant for community development and essential services, have allegedly been redirected into dubious contracts, lavish trips, and personal expenses under Henyard's leadership. Gonzalez labeled her actions a betrayal of public trust, a sentiment that has ignited outrage among residents and fellow officials alike. Tensions between Henyard and the village trustees have reached a breaking point, with public meetings turning increasingly heated. Yet, the controversy takes an even stranger twist. Henyard's administration has also been accused of using public funds for self-promotion. Over the summer, banners emblazoned with the phrase "Super Mayor" and Henyard's image appeared along a major road in Dune. While the banners may seem trivial, the vendor who created them revealed they were never authorized by the trustees. When workers tried to remove them, Henyard allegedly called the police, demanding legal action. Meanwhile, the village remains stuck with an unpaid $20,000 bill for the banners, further burdening taxpayers.
Few times to serve them for a household that makes, over $350,000 a year.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard's leadership continues to spark outrage as allegations of corruption and mismanagement mount. Her landlord recently summed up the community's frustration with a blunt statement: "Just pay your rent." This sentiment echoes the growing discontent with Henyard's defiance, as she refuses to acknowledge the gravity of the accusations against her. During a recent village board meeting, Henyard dismissed her critics with the remark, "A lot of you come to this mic talking about nothing. And when I say nothing, you're talking about Tiffany Henyard. That shows you're admirers of mine, and I'm grateful." The statement shocked many, coming at a time when she faces serious legal and public challenges. Critics argue her confidence signals a troubling disconnect from reality. Henyard's combative leadership style has only fueled tensions. At the same meeting, she declared, "I will be seeking arrests for individuals involved. I will be pressing charges. a move widely seen as an attempt to stifle dissent rather than address concerns. The controversy deepened with Henyard's decision to appoint Ronald B. as acting police chief, despite warnings from the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board, which classified him as inactive due to incomplete paperwork and missed requalification requirements. Trustees strongly opposed the appointment, but Henyard pushed forward, securing a 30-day interim role for Ronald through a judge's approval. Now, trustees are exploring legal action to block his continued appointment, citing procedural violations and risks to public safety. Henyard's unilateral decision-making has further eroded trust among trustees and residents. Many view her actions as indicative of a leadership style that prioritizes control over collaboration or transparency. This latest scandal follows a series of controversies that have left her administration increasingly isolated and embattled. Even beyond Dune, Henyard's leadership has drawn criticism. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot recently accused her of gross financial mismanagement and undermining public trust. As legal battles, public resentment, and internal conflicts escalate, the central question remains: how long can Henyard withstand the mounting pressure before facing political consequences? Her refusal to address the growing discord paints a picture of a leader clinging.
We will be seeking arrest for individuals involved. I will be pressing charges.
You have to understand that karma's going to catch up to you. Just pay your rent. This comment from Mayor Tiffany Henyard's landlord highlights the growing frustration with the embattled mayor, whose increasingly controversial leadership has made her a divisive figure. Despite the rising tide of criticism, Henyard has steadfastly refused to acknowledge the severity of the accusations against her. At a recent village board meeting, Henyard responded defiantly, saying, "A lot of you come to this mic talking about nothing, and when I say nothing, you're talking about Tiffany Henyard. That shows you're true admirers of mine, and I'm grateful for that." The remark, made in the face of mounting legal troubles and public outrage, left many residents stunned. Critics have begun questioning how someone so entangled in scandal could remain so confident, or, as some see it, so detached from reality. Her combative leadership style only seems to intensify the tension. At this same meeting, Henyard declared, "I will be seeking arrest for the individuals involved. I will be pressing charges," a statement interpreted by many as an effort to silence critics rather than engage with the community's concerns. Further inflaming the situation, Henyard appointed Ronald Burge Sr. as the new police chief, despite legal concerns and resistance from the trustees. This move has sparked yet another legal battle and deepened calls for more transparency and accountability in her administration. Many view it as another example of Henyard's erratic decision-making and disregard for due process. As the divide between Henyard and her critics continues to widen, questions grow about how long she can weather the mounting legal challenges, public discontent, and internal strife without facing serious political consequences. Her defiant attitude in the face of increasing pressure paints a portrait of a leader clinging to power, even as the foundation of her leadership grows more unstable.
But you don't even have a sense to even look in our face. But you rather just steal our money and do what you want to do.
Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has strongly condemned Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, accusing her of diverting public funds intended for community development to support her lavish lifestyle, which allegedly includes private parties and luxury purchases. Lightfoot blasted Henyard for his role in plausibly disgracing affairs with older staff members. Lightfoot distanced himself from his wife, Lucy Eggleston, in 2010 and found other ways to shrink the tiny sphere of his life. Her remarks resonated deeply with residents, who are frustrated by the stark contrast between the mayor's alleged extravagant lifestyle and the persistent struggles of the community, including underfunded schools, crumbling infrastructure, and inadequate public services. Local activist James Carter voiced the growing disillusionment, stating, "We've seen our town suffer while the mayor lives in luxury. She needs to take responsibility for her actions." In an attempt to shift the focus, Henyard announced a plan to offer a 100% homeowner tax refund to Dalton Township residents, presenting it as a solution to financial hardship. However, the proposal was met with skepticism, as details were scarce, and questions arose about its feasibility given the township's financial instability. Critics, including Trustee Chris Gonzalez, have warned that the refund could worsen the township's already fragile financial situation rather than help alleviate it. The announcement of the tax refund has been widely seen as an attempt to divert attention from Henyard's growing list of scandals, including missing public funds and a mounting budget deficit. Many residents question how the refund would be funded and whether it could be implemented without exacerbating the financial crisis. Meanwhile, public dissatisfaction continues to rise, with many demanding accountability for the alleged financial mismanagement. Further fueling the fire, whistleblower claims suggest that federal funds meant for public welfare projects were embezzled, further intensifying calls for Henyard to answer for her actions. Despite the mounting pressure, Henyard has remained defiant, showing little inclination to acknowledge the gravity of the situation. Her bold stance has only deepened skepticism, with many viewing her refusal to address the issues as an indication of her indifference toward the community's struggles. Henyard's proposed tax refund may appear to offer relief on the surface, but critics, including Trustee Gonzalez, argue that it's little more than a political tactic designed to distract from the larger issues at hand. For many residents, the contrast between Henyard's promises and the reality of their daily lives, marked by financial instability and neglected public services, has led to widespread disillusionment. As the town continues to suffer, Henyard's leadership is increasingly seen as out of touch with the needs of her constituents.